Hello everyone. Welcome back to Red Tales. Today's story is about a man whose wife had a honeymoon with a colleague during a business conference. Let's go. My wife cheated on me. I suspected for too long and found proof on November 18th. My story thus far. 13-year relationship, married for 8, son that is 3.5 years old. Both of us have lots of family locally and good support bases for babysitting. Divorce would require the sale of our house and the relocation of her parents, that rent a second house from us. I would retain that house and my wife would sell the one we live in. These issues were discussed and, on a macro level, were agreed to a few weeks back. For the past year or so I've suspected that my wife was having an emotional affair with one of her colleagues. I asked her about it many times, every few days toward the end, and even asked her if she had sex with him. Everything was denied. She claimed he was a friend and even showed me pictures of him and his family, told me where he worked, same industry, different company, and filled me in on some of their conversations. She was so light-hearted about it that I even started calling this guy her boyfriend. On November 17th we had dinner with her parents and he got brought up in the most casual of ways. My wife hesitated just 5 seconds longer than normal in her reaction to her parents, and I knew that something was up. The next morning I took our family laptop and checked her iPhone backups for evidence. Turns out she had been sexting with him since early September and had been having a full-blown sexual affair with him since early October. I confronted her about it and she came clean, admitting to everything including a one-night stand with the guy back in February at a work conference. In a nutshell, one-night stand in February, sexting in Sept, and a dozen or so sexual encounters in October/November. The last bit included a 3-day honeymoon, his words, during a work conference in October. They had specific plans to continue this through February until the same conference that they met at a year before. They both had agreed, in writing, before I discovered them, that they would end it after that. I had my wife get STD tests and she will follow up in 6 months. She and I were sleeping together during the affair and have continued to do so after. The other guy? 42, fairly successful partner at a small law firm, married with 3 kids, lives in the same town as us. I've ran into him already once when shopping. Point, we live nearby and will contend with running into each other from time to time. His wife, 42, who doesn't work, doesn't know about the affair. My wife seemed to indicate that his wife would likely go ballistic and take him to the cleaners if she found out. My wife and I are in therapy, couples and individual, and we are still working to see if we want to stay together. At this point she is 50-50 and I'm 25-75 or 75-25 depending on the day. We are very civil with each other and I believe that there is still mutual love between us. As you would imagine, there is also a great deal of pain, mistrust, tension, resentment, and a host of other emotions. I think that the relationship is salvageable if we are both willing to put in a ton of work. An issue is I'm not sure that either of us can stomach the process for months and months or longer. We've discussed some of the reasons she did what she did, including some mutual faults in our relationship. We are working on those and I expect it to take a long time. In the meantime I'm struggling with a few issues. I have a strong desire to tell his wife. I think it would be morally right and I'd feel some sense of righteousness in fixing that wrong. Consider it my way of getting back at him. The problem is that doing so may cause blowback on his career as well as my wife's. Thus, it could have blowback on me. I'm 99.9% sure I can't tell the wife, but I can't help but fantasize ways to tip her off while maintaining culpable deniability. If my wife and I do split up, I am currently vengeful enough that I'm 99.9% sure that I'm outing him to his wife. Note aforementioned cleaner's comment. Trust. I trust that my wife isn't sleeping or even communicating with this guy anymore. I have a good amount of proof that she is on the up and up, not to mention that I still have the iPhone backups, complete with mutually damning photos and texts. If I were to catch them again at something, then it would be game over. The guy has a lot to lose should I go public. Having said that, My wife did sneak around with impunity for a few months, so I have some basic issue of who the fuck is this person that I'm married to. Basically, I assume everything she says is a lie until I can reasonably verify it through independent research. How have other people learned to trust again? My child. At 3.5, he is very young and won't likely remember much of mummy and daddy as a couple if she and I were to split up now. In a year that won't be the case. Right now he's pretty oblivious to our issues as, for the most part, we've kept calm when he is in the house. Unsure, however, that he can sense the tension between us. I know for a fact that both she and I are likely more short with him. Has anyone else in the group been in similar situations with similar aged children? How did you handle things and how did it work out for your kids? Who to confide in? She has told her parents, sister, and a close friend. I have told the same plus a few out-of-town friends. In a nutshell, we've largely hidden this from local friends, co-workers, etc. Of course there is a part of me that wants to stand on a metaphorical mountaintop and let everyone know. Realistically, however, if we do work through this, I'm not sure I want that ghost to forever follow us in a public setting. Lastly, any other tips, questions, comments, etc.? I'm sure I missed some stuff. At this point, this forum is now my main public outlet. OP comes back about 6 months later with an update. After months of pain, I laid down the gauntlet about 1.5 months ago, progress or separation. At the time we weren't in therapy, her choice, and her idea of recovery was just letting time take its course. Over the past 6 weeks we've made our way to tonight, divorce mediation session number 2. The first was an into, and this one we start making plans. Leading up to this we established some finances, custody, and came to agreement on a number of small issues. Tonight we start formalizing it. The past day or two have been rough. I love her but I can't shake the anger. It is like my brain is stuck on repeat about the affair. I range from thoughts of revenge on the other guy to horrible sadness that she did this to our family. I think of the hard times and loneliness of the next few months as all of this gets sorted out, and I think, what the fuck am I doing? Why can't you just forgive her? Then she'll say something that just brings it all back. The latest is that I'm increasingly adamant that someone tells the other guy's wife. She has a right to know. My wife is firmly against it and has threatened to pull out of mediation and start litigating if I go that route. Those threats. So telling. Her motivation is to just make it all go away. Since D-Day, everything for her has been about mitigating the consequences of her affair. Drives me bonkers. I so look forward to getting all of this behind me and settling in on my own, finding someone new to date, spending more time with my son. All the BS that the affair has brought into my life is just exhausting. Sorry to unload. Off to mediation. OP gives us one last update. So, 1 year ago tomorrow morning was my D-Day. Dear God, it has gone by quickly. Such a roller coaster of emotions, discover, planning, explaining, thinking. By December last year I knew we weren't going to get through this. She was taking zero ownership, no therapy, few apologies, totally self-absorbed. It took me months to build up the balls to make some changes. By April my soon-to-be ex was still unwilling to do anything, and it was clear that I was not, nor would I be, a priority in her life. She is an amazing person, but had gone off the deep end, at least with regards to our marriage. In May I separated from her, moved out in August. We have remained friends and things are more pleasant than they've been in a few years. I'm dating, she's dating, and we are co-parenting well. We've gone to mediation, completed marital settlement agreement back over the summer, and divorce paperwork has been submitted to the courts. I haven't forgiven her and I know that what she did was horrible, but I've come out a better person because of it all. In many ways she is still a hot mess, but at least she's her own hot mess. I'm solid on my own and everything is looking up. TLDR, 1 year later. Separated, pending divorce. Dating. Own a house. 50-50 custody. £30 lighter. Getting child support, paying nothing, other than court fees. Learned a lot. OP was finally able to break free from his toxic wife. He says she's an amazing person, but I have to disagree. She carried on an affair for months, then when found out she not only refused to do the actual work of fixing things, but threatened divorce if her affair partner's wife was told. He should have called her on that threat. The AP's wife deserves to know so she can make her own choices just like OP did. They both earned the consequences of having an affair and should have to endure them. I doubt this is the first time for either of them, or that it's the last. Thanks for joining us on today's Red Tales. Hit that like button if you enjoyed your time here. Subscribe if you haven't already to get more videos just like this one. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.